Sandvik is a 100 billion SEK global company with its headquarters here in Sweden. It has businesses across several areas, including mining, advanced materials, additive manufacturing, and machining. And to scale its digital footprint, they started a Center of Digital Excellence, or CODE, in 2017, where Hugo Nordell was the second employee. Hugo was recruited from Silicon Valley, where he had been a successful entrepreneur with 2 startup exits behind him. Now he was to do the same kind of job, but within a large corporate to reap the benefits of digital manufacturing. Today, Hugo is the VP of Strategy at Sandvik Digital. So Hugo, will you start by briefly introducing the main business drivers behind the CODE initiative and give us an example of what you have created?
Thanks, Jens. Yeah, so there are 2 strategic imperatives for why we created Sandvik CODE. And before I walk through them, let's provide some market context. So manufacturing productivity growth is at an all-time low, and upwards of 30% of skilled manufacturing labor is approaching retirement. So in order to understand where the next phase of productivity growth will have to come from, we started by breaking down our customers' cost structure. And it turns out that tooling is less than 5% of costs, but has a direct impact on 90% of the customer's total cost base. Now, historically, we've driven productivity improvement by sending our engineers on site to work across the full factory floor, but we've charged for the tooling, and the economics of this approach requires large tooling contracts. But 75% of global tool spend is actually driven by customers with fewer than 50 employees who can't afford this high touch model. And so therefore, the first imperative for us became to tap into this long tail of small customers and help them secure business continuity. But on top of this, we're also seeing that key manufacturing decisions are moving upstream, away from our home on the production floor and into software used in an engineering office by an entirely different set of stakeholders. So to remain relevant with our customers, our second imperative has been to secure our position upstream where these decisions are moving. And with these imperatives in mind, it's evident that we need to find new ways of making our know-how reproducible and more easily accessible to customers. And the first product that leverages these insights is called Prism. Prism is a programming application that dramatically simplifies the way that metal cutting machines are programmed, using codified Sandvik knowledge made available on demand with the tap of a finger. Prism reduces programming time by up to 90% and productivity increases by up to 20%. And anyone can use it, novices and experts alike, to move production forward.
Very impressive. So Hugo, can you elaborate a bit more on the playbook that you use to make this happen?
Sure. So in terms of a playbook for navigating the digital change in practice, we started with the following question. What do we bring to the table? Now, if you can't articulate this, you won't know where to start or what the metrics of success will be. And second, map the value chain, identify bottlenecks, and evaluate which positions in the value chain are key for your core competence to make things better. And third, estimate the value potential from these positions in order to understand how big the opportunity is, who else is eyeing it, and if it's big enough for you to move the needle.
Robin, you were working alongside Hugo on the strategic positioning part. Can you briefly explain what you did?
Sure. Once you're reasonably clear on the value you want to target and the positions in the value chain you want, you need to translate that from the value throughout the technology stack and ultimately bring your plans to reality. In Sandvik's case, you went beyond a connected product and a proprietary IoT solution to creating a platform that enabled participation from a whole ecosystem. And that meant balancing openness and control. You needed to build a well-functioning software stack that was also inclusive to engage the whole ecosystem, as well as sufficient control around key positions to get the desired roles and to capture the right share of the value pool. In more detail, it was about creating a red thread of competitiveness vectors from the value throughout the technology stack. Together, we identified the key technologies, set the innovation path, and decided on the best way to buy, build, or partner to develop the needed technologies, and added a control strategy layer to regulate exclusivity and openness, using available tools such as patents, secrecy, and contracts. The control strategy served to ensure freedom to act with a portfolio aimed at deterring actions against Sandvik as well as against the ecosystem at large. It also served to ensure differentiation, to build reputation, and to secure relationships. By protecting key elements in relation to competing platforms, Sandvik demonstrated its ambition to lead and its commitment to the long-term success of the ecosystem.
So, with strategy, positioning, and relevant business goals in place, this begs the question, where do you start? Now, I fundamentally believe that your team has to be in-house, and it must include domain experts and digital outsiders in order to maximize the likelihood that what you build, customers are willing to pay for. Start small with this core of domain and digital talent, and amplify as necessary with external partners to achieve speed. And second, as you increasingly validate the opportunity and you shape the offering, your team must be allowed to grow to truly have a chance at maximizing positive impact. And finally, it pays to start small, but you will need to grow your digital investments over time in order to drive meaningful business outcome. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Hugo and Robin, for a great case presentation, which I think provided some very useful insights into what digital technology innovation can look like and how IP can have a decisive role to play in its successful deployment.